The ultimatum. Silence hung over the Galactic Coalition's War Council chamber as Supreme Strategist Zextalon finished his presentation. His long, spindly fingers tapped a holographic display, zooming in on the blue-green planet that had become the focus of their attention. Earth, he said, the word falling from his mouth with practiced disdain. A Class 3 civilization at best. Limited space travel. Primitive weapons. Internal conflicts that keep them fractured. The perfect addition to our labor force. Around the oval table, representatives of the Coalition's 7 dominant species nodded in agreement. They had conquered 32 worlds in the past cycle alone, each submission adding to their vast empire. Earth would be no different. Admiral Karvek of the Trizarian fleet leaned forward, his scaled skin gleaming under the chamber's lights. The humans have been observed following galactic conventions since their discovery. They've shown no resistance to our trade regulations or territorial claims. This operation should require minimal force. Precisely, Zextalon replied. Our intelligence suggests they will surrender within hours of our arrival. Their military infrastructure is fragmented, their weapons primitive. We estimate casualties at less than 1% of our invasion force. The Coalition's Supreme Chancellor, a massive Drelneri with 6 eyes and translucent skin, raised a limb for attention. Let the record show that the Coalition has unanimously approved the acquisition of Earth. Deployment begins at the next solar rotation. None of them noticed the small blinking light on the chamber's communication panel. None of them realized that every word had been transmitted directly to Earth's Unified Defense Command. Commander Elena Reyes stood before the assembled leaders of Earth's military divisions, her face illuminated by the holographic display showing the Coalition's war chamber. The transmission had ended, but the implications hung heavy in the air. They think we're weak, she said, her voice steady despite the rage building inside her. They think we'll surrender. General Weizong of the Pan-Asian Alliance nodded grimly. They'd never seen humans at war. Not real war. They've only seen what we've allowed them to see, added Admiral Jackson of the North American Union. Our public military displays. Our ceremonial weapons. The carefully orchestrated exercises we perform for their observers. Elena turned to face the 30 men and women who controlled Earth's combined military might. People who had once been enemies, now united against an external threat. We've prepared for this day for 15 years. Since the first Coalition scout ship was detected at the edge of our solar system. On the main screen, images began to cycle through. Massive underground facilities, weapon systems unlike anything publicly acknowledged. Fleets of ships hidden beneath the oceans and within hollowed-out mountains. Project Nemesis is ready for deployment, Elena continued. All personnel have been briefed. All systems are operational. The president of the United Global Council, a former diplomat named Hassan Ibrahim, stood up. His voice was heavy with the weight of the decision before them. This goes against everything we've claimed to stand for. The Coalition believes we follow their rules of engagement, their concepts of ethical warfare. With respect, Mr. President, Elena replied, they're coming to enslave our world. They don't get to dictate the terms of our resistance. Ibrahim looked around the room, seeing the determination in every face. Then we are agreed. Activate the blackout protocol. When they come, they find nothing. No communication, no negotiation. He paused, his voice dropping. And when they land, we show them what humanity is truly capable of. The Coalition invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace just beyond Luna's orbit, 5,000 ships strong. Their massive forms blotted out the stars as they moved into formation, weapon systems powering up in anticipation of token resistance. Grand Admiral Karvek stood on the bridge of the flagship Inevitable Dominion, watching as Earth grew larger on the main view screen. Broadcast our terms of surrender, he ordered. Give them 1 hour to respond before we begin orbital strikes on their military installations. His communications officer worked the controls, then frowned. Sir, we're detecting no transmissions from the planet. None. No broadcasts, no satellite communications, no defense networks. All systems appear to be offline. Karvek's inner eyelids flickered in confusion. Scan for life signs. Life signs detected, sir. Population centers appear normal. But there's no technological activity beyond basic power signatures. They'd gone dark, his second-in-command whispered. But why? His communications officer worked the controls, then frowned. Sir, we're detecting no transmissions from the planet. None? No broadcasts, no satellite communications, no defense networks. All systems appear to be offline. Karvek's inner eyelids flickered in confusion. Scan for life signs. Life signs detected, sir. Population centers appear normal. But there's no technological activity beyond basic power signatures. They'd gone dark, his second-in-command whispered. But why? Karvek felt the first stirrings of unease. This wasn't part of the strategy. Every species they'd encountered had responded with either immediate surrender or frantic defensive measures. None had simply gone silent. Proceed with the invasion as planned, he ordered. Launch the first wave of dropships. Secure their major governmental centers. As the first 1,000 dropships detached from the fleet and began their descent toward Earth's atmosphere, a single transmission cut through the silence. It wasn't directed at the flagship or any official communication channel. Instead, it broadcast on all frequencies, impossible to block or ignore. A single human voice, female and unnervingly calm. We knew you were coming. We've always known. You think you understand warfare because you've conquered those who play by your rules. But humans don't fight fair. We never have. No more mercy. No more rules. Only war. The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in silence. Before Karvek could process what he'd heard, alarms began blaring across the fleet. Sir, our dropships are reporting massive energy signatures activating across the planet's surface. On the view screen, the dark side of Earth suddenly illuminated with thousands of points of light. Not cities coming online, but something else. Something moving. The first wave of coalition dropships never reached the ground. Instead, they encountered what the coalition had believed impossible, an orbital defense grid that had remained completely undetected until activated. Energy weapons unlike anything in the coalition's arsenal cut through the armas as if they were made of paper. Simultaneously, from hidden bases on Luna and Mars, Earth's own fleet emerged, ships that had never been registered, never been seen during the coalition's surveillance. Impossible, Karvek whispered as the data flooded in. Their technology, they're supposed to be centuries behind us. His tactical officer's voice shook as he reported. Sir, we're detecting humans aboard our ships. They've somehow boarded multiple vessels simultaneously. How? We have shields. But the answer didn't matter. What mattered was the reality unfolding around them. Within minutes, 20% of the coalition fleet had been compromised. Within an hour, that number had doubled. In the chaos of the battle, Karvek received one final transmission. This time, he recognized Commander Elena Reyes, her image appearing on his private command screen. This is your only warning, she said, her eyes cold with determination. Leave our system now with what remains of your fleet or be destroyed. Earth is not a prize to be taken. We are not a species to be enslaved. We are your worst nightmare. As Karvek watched in horror, his second-in-command collapsed beside him, blood pouring from his eyes and ears. Throughout the ship, similar scenes were unfolding. Some invisible biological agent spreading through the ventilation systems. Full retreat, he gasped into the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, full retreat. As the remaining coalition ships scrambled to escape Earth's orbit, they carried with them a message for the rest of the galaxy. Humanity had been hiding its true nature all along. And now, the mask had been removed, unleashing humanity. The Coalition War Council chamber had never been so silent. Of the 5,000 ships sent to conquer Earth, only 800 had returned, and many of those were heavily damaged. The holographic display in the center of the room showed the casualties. Over 3 million coalition soldiers dead or missing. Supreme strategist Zexfallen stood before his peers, his normally confident posture now hunched and defeated. We were wrong about them. Catastrophically wrong. Admiral Karvek, one of the few high-ranking officers to survive the disaster, stepped forward. His scales had lost their luster, and his eyes held the haunted look of someone who had witnessed true horror. "The humans have been deceiving us for decades," he said, his voice hoarse. "Everything they showed us. Their primitive weapons, their divided governments, their adherence to our galactic conventions. It was all an elaborate deception." The Supreme Chancellor's skin had turned a pale gray, reflecting his distress. "Explain what happened. We need to understand what we're facing." Karvek activated his personal data device, projecting images that made several council members recoil. Their orbital defense system remained completely undetectable until activated. Their ships emerged from hidden bases throughout their system. But that was just the beginning. He showed footage from inside coalition vessels, human soldiers materializing as if from nowhere, moving with impossible speed, using weapons that seemed to ignore armor and shields alike. They deployed biological agents specifically tailored to each species in our coalition, he continued. Nanoscale weapons that attacked our neural systems. And this. He displayed the image of a small device recovered from one of the surviving ships. "We found these attached to our engine cores. Quantum entanglement bombs. If detonated, they would have destroyed not just our ships but created tears in spacetime itself." The council chamber erupted in shouts and questions. The Chancellor raised all 6 limbs for silence. How could they have developed such technologies without our knowledge? "We underestimated their ingenuity," Karvek replied. "And their paranoia. They'd been preparing for interstellar threats since before they even left their planet. Our first scout ships detected 15 years ago. They knew we were watching. Everything since then has been part of their strategy." On Earth, Commander Elena Reyes walked through the underground command center known as Sanctuary Deep. Around her, personnel monitored the Coalition's retreat and the status of Earth's defenses. Project Nemesis, the culmination of humanity's combined military genius, had proven even more effective than anticipated. President Ibrahim joined her, watching the main display as it tracked the Coalition fleet's withdrawal from the solar system. "They'll be back," he said quietly. "Not soon, but eventually, with a larger force." "Let them come," Elena replied. "Phase 1 was just to drive them out. We've barely shown them what we're capable of." Ibrahim studied her face. "You want them to return." "I want them to understand," she corrected. "For centuries, humanity fought itself. We perfected the art of war against the most dangerous enemy possible, other humans. While the Coalition was conquering compliant species and growing complacent, we were honing our skills against ourselves." She pointed to a section of the display showing data from the infiltration teams. "Our operatives have uploaded the Thanatos protocol to their central networks. If they attempt another invasion, we won't just defend Earth, we'll bring the war to every corner of their empire." Ibrahim nodded slowly. "Send the message." 3 days after the failed invasion, every communication device across the Coalition's 1,000 worlds activated simultaneously. On planets thousands of light-years apart, in ships traversing the void between stars, the same human face appeared. Commander Elena Reyes, her expression resolute. "This message is directed to the leadership of the Galactic Coalition and to all citizens under their control. 3 days ago, your leaders attempted to invade Earth with the intention of enslaving humanity. They failed. Their failure cost millions of your soldiers' lives and revealed a truth your leadership has hidden from you. Humanity is not what you believed." Images began to play alongside her words, footage of the battle, demonstrations of Earth's weapons and defenses, proof of capabilities far beyond what the Coalition had thought possible. "For generations, you have conquered species who lack the will or the means to resist. You impose your rules of warfare, your concepts of civilized conflict, and called those who submitted enlightened. But humans evolved on a predator world, fought against nature and each other for survival, and developed a capacity for warfare unlike anything your coalition has encountered. Her expression hardened. This is humanity's final warning to the galaxy. Leave us in peace, or face extinction. We have placed dormant weapons throughout your territories. We have agents embedded in your governments. We have studied your weaknesses and prepared accordingly. She leaned closer to the camera, her voice dropping to a near whisper. We do not want war. But if forced to fight, we will not follow your rules. We will not show mercy. We will not stop until victory is absolute. The message ended, leaving billions across the galaxy in stunned silence. In the aftermath, the coalition's unified government collapsed. Several member species, terrified by the demonstration of human capabilities, declared independence. Others formed new alliances, hoping that together they might develop defenses against the human threat. 6 months after the failed invasion, a small diplomatic vessel approached Earth under a flag of truce. It carried representatives from 30 former coalition worlds, coming not to threaten but to negotiate. In the Grand Chamber of the United Global Council, these representatives faced President Ibrahim, Commander Rice, and the gathered leaders of humanity. The lead diplomat, a Trizarian-like Admiral Karvek, but older and more distinguished, bowed deeply before speaking. We come seeking peace, not from fear, though we do fear what you might do, but from respect. We recognize now what we failed to see before. Humanity deserves its place among the stars, not as subjects, but as equals. Ibrahim exchanged glances with Elena before responding. Peace is possible, but equality is earned, not granted. Your coalition attempted to enslave us. The consequences could have been far worse. We understand, the diplomat replied. And we bring an offer. Knowledge exchange, open borders, true alliance rather than subjugation. And in return, we ask only that the weapons you've hidden throughout our worlds be deactivated. Elena stepped forward. Those weapons remain as our guarantee. Trust must be earned over time. The diplomat nodded slowly. Then we will earn it. But know this. Your message has been received across the galaxy. No more mercy. No more rules. Only war. It will echo through our histories for generations to come. As the negotiations continued, humanity took its first steps into a wider galaxy, not as conquerors or the conquered, but as the species that had taught the stars a lesson in fear, a species that had issued a final warning. Threaten Earth at your peril. The universe would never underestimate humanity again.